excited to be here. My joy is overwhelming. But the question that I have is fit for this city of brotherly love. And my question is, when people choose to be in relationship with one another in multiples, is it more important to take care of one's own vortex
always,
or worry about the ecosystem?
Well, why do they have to be one or the other? When you tend to the relationship that you have with your own inner being first, then you have this leverage of pure positive energy. Then you have clarity and timing, and then you really have something to give your ecosystem or whoever else that you're talking about. Sometimes, and it's a sort of human condition, you're getting over it more and more as we chew together more and more. But here's why it happens. Here's what goes on sometimes, is that you're in this physical body and you're observing what's going on around you, and even though you have emotions which indicate that there's another part of you that you may be moving away from time to time in your dissatisfaction, most humans just think that's a function of life, so you don't tend to that relationship because you have lost your ability to selfishly care how you feel. You've been trained by others that you should always put them first. So you, over time and through centuries, and it varies with different cultures and it varies in different times, but the general trend is that you move toward trying to identify or relate to each other because each other are more obvious to you than your invisible vortex, which has to be annoying.
Very, sometimes.
In your attempting to relate to each other, you want each other to get you. And so in order to be understood, because you want so much to be understood, you keep adjusting your own frequency in order to be understood. And each time you adjust your frequency in order to be understood, just in the very first concept that we were presenting here today, if you are happy all the time and there are things around in the environment that aren't all that happy, there are those that might accuse you of insanity. How could you be happy when this is going on? And in your not wanting them to think that you have lost your mind, then you focus with them, and sure enough, you begin to feel more like they do, which makes them feel better. It doesn't make you feel better, but it makes you feel more understood by them. And so this is the first thing that you have to decide, is while step one matters, because without some of that interaction and without some of that willingness to, in a contrasting way, lose track of the fullness of who you are. In other words, if you don't know how good connection feels, if you've never experienced disconnection, then how do you know that you want to be connected? Because everything is some form of relativity, isn't it? You can't focus without it. You just don't want to get carried away with step one. You just don't want to live your whole life sifting through the details of step one. So once you get the concept of it, and once you really decide that you do want to selfishly, not just for yourself, but for the sake of everybody you care about, and even those you don't even know, you want to tend to your own frequency. You want to tune in. You want the wholeness of who you are to be present so that you have good timing and best opportunity. Esther had a really interesting experience in the nail salon on Thursday. So she went to the nail salon and she was feeling all frisky and full of herself. She was just having the most wonderful day. And she got there and there were 3 technicians and 3 clients in the middle. And Esther was just having a really wonderful time, and she was especially funny, but she was the only one who knew it. And she was just laughing to herself, thinking, I wish they knew how funny I'm being, but they didn't. It was a little bit of a language barrier, tiny bit, but mostly it was a vibrational difference. And Esther found the whole thing amusing. So the funnier she was, and the more they didn't know it, the funnier she was. And Esther was thinking about this relativity, this mutuality that we've been talking about. And she thought, well, I'm mutual with my inner being, and I can tell for sure I'm entertaining Jerry, which was always her quest in life. Yes. And still is. And just because they're not really hearing. So then the music began to play. Sarah Brightman, you know, she's a magnificent vocalist. And the song was a familiar song There are 6 of them sitting there, and they're all really close together, and they can all hear what everybody is saying. And so Esther thought she would explain something about this song. And she said, you know, several years ago, Jerry and I were receiving a new recreational vehicle. We had brought, it was our first one, and we had brought a U-Haul with everything that we were going to load into it, towed it behind our car to this place. And now we are taking the orientation so that we can understand this massive piece of equipment and all of the things that it does. So it was 3 days of them teaching us how to do this and how to do this. And at one point, the man was teaching us, Esther is telling them the story, how to operate the musical system. It was a magnificent system. And the audio was just the best sound she'd ever heard. And he said, do you have a CD? And they said, we have one in that U-Haul trailer, but we can't get our hands on it anytime fast, not even sure box it's in. And at that moment, there was a knock on the door. And it was someone saying, there's a package to be delivered to Jerry and Esther Hicks. They opened the package, and it had a CD in it from one of you who Esther and Jerry had told where they were going, and he had overnighted the CD, and they put it in, and that was the song that was playing.
Wow. Wow.
And Esther just thought that was just the most magical thing. She could hardly stand it. She wanted so much for them to hear it. And no one said, oh. No one said, wow. No one said anything. It was just more filing and stuff. No one had any interest whatsoever in this incredible law of attraction on steroids story that Esther was explaining to them. And then she thought about what we've been talking about mutuality. And she thought, they don't understand about law of attraction. They're not mutual with me in their being knocked out by the precision of law of attraction and the perfection of the universe. I don't have that kind of mutuality with them. But I don't need to be dissatisfied with these people, because most of the people that come to my seminars aren't doing my nails either. I've got this mutuality with them. Look at these beautiful nails. Can you see how beautiful these nails are? Seriously, just what she wants. The right color, the right filing. That was mutuality. Our point is, of course, you're way ahead of us already, is that when you're looking for positive aspects, now what do we mean by positive aspects? We mean when you look for an aspect in someone and you feel positive when you find it, you've found satisfaction. You've found satisfaction, and in finding satisfaction, you've found vibrational compatibility with your own inner being, with all of your resources, you see. And so Esther only felt just a twinge of dissatisfaction that she wasn't entertaining them when she was giving it everything she had, and that she wasn't uplifting them to understand the laws of the universe when she was giving it everything she had. But she was there having mutuality with them on so many other levels. It's a beautiful salon. It's really clean. They are very orderly. They always give her an appointment. They get her in and out quickly. They care about her. She pays them. They receive the money. They give her a wonderful service. In other words, everybody doesn't have to be everything to you. And when you stop wanting anyone, even the person you live with, even the person you sleep with, even the person that you do most everything with, don't ask anybody to be your mutuality on all subjects. Just look for the subjects where you find satisfaction, and therefore never use anyone ever again as your basis of dissatisfaction, which pulls you away from your inner being who has already found that mutuality of satisfaction.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Really good. Enough?
I get it, right?
Yes, you do. Yes, yes, indeed.